How is Europe doing? Under the benevolent gaze of the tyrannical Fuhrer, Europe is surprisingly peaceful. Afghanistan has been created. We have our first client state. Now, I don't want to press OK in case I can change stuff. I can't change stuff, so we're okay to press OK. I mean, I'm the observer, I shouldn't have the power to affect anything, but just in case. How much of Sweden do they sell to Russia? More than I expected. And Sweden is sitting on very negative prestige right now. So yeah, Russia is definitely flexing their muscles a little bit towards the Scandinavians. No offensive moves as yet. No blockades going on either. There is, however, a Dutch invasion of Belitung going on. Hey, Zate, how are you doing? Thank you very much for the raid. Welcome to the Raiders. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, Eagle Slayer, blimey, I just realised that was a tier 3 sub. Thank you very much for that. Good news. Apparently, something leaked from Twitch where they're actually changing the loyalty badges slightly to denote what tier subscription you are. So you'll get a little silver star if you're a tier 2, and you'll get a little gold star, like, next to the loyalty badge, if you're a tier 1. So that is now becoming more visually apparent for people who do the higher tiers. So thank you very much for that. Rumred, Achilles, and Zonerg, thank you very much for the follows. Welcome to the channel. Okay, so Middle-earth has been almost fully occupied by Australia. Hey, Mus. If one of you guys wants to jump in as Andalusia or Brazil, these two could really do with a substitute. Andalusia in particular, and Andalusia is a strong state. They're third overall. You'd be in a good position. Russia has Asia armies? I don't think so. I think they're all in Europe. But Russia does have a chain of forts here defending. They are level 8s. Which would buy them a little bit of time. Although the border with Timurids are far less fortified than the borders and Ottomans. Borders with Timurids and Ottomans are completely unguarded. Russia only has forts with Uran. I wonder what that means. Oh yeah, there's a 20 stack here. That's just fighting rebels though. It's not like they're building the Great East Asian Army. Master Giles is currently fighting against Maguindanao. Maguindanao has gone for peace. Gone for independence. That's what happens when players don't show up. Is this a war they declared? Oh, of course, I can't see Liberty Desire now. Wait. Papal States are a Japanese tributary? That's not allowed. Pretty sure. Isn't there a rule of that you have to be adjacent to be a tributary? I don't think the Papal States have anything over here. If you wouldn't mind looking into that, Val, I would appreciate it. That's why someone said anime is spread to the Pope. Gotcha. I mean, there's an easy way for us to find out. If we go to the Papal States, then we go to the diplomatic map mode, which highlights just their territories. What's that? Ah, they do have adjacency. Okay, it's allowed. Technically. Tenuous, but technically. Maguindanao declared on Japan. AI gone rogue. Yeah, that's going to be a Liberty Desire thing, I think. In that case, I would say has to defeat Maguindanao and bring them back in. Well, try to. And yeah, Japan and Papacy do have a border. It's hard to see because Japan, sorry, Papacy, Austria, and Hindustan all have the same sodding colour, more or less. So slightly darker shade of white. Like dirty white as opposed to pure white. The really difficult one is between Hindustan and Austria. Oh hell, and Shan, just to make it even more complicated. Our overlord Japan demands that we send them this year's tribute in the form of 800 ducats. That's a pretty penny. And I think we do need to make some proper rules about marches. I don't think they should have same protection rules as regular players. In fact, I'm tempted to say they don't have any. That's the risk you take from being marchified. Although I've not made that decision for this episode. It's something we need to talk about in the community. So Afghanistan has grown a bit, which is a Timurid client state. Wonder why they did that. And they've lost control of, well... Don't they need Doba to form Mughals? Oh, we have a hot joiner. This is a name I should recognize, and I never know who they actually are. Because it's not the same name they use in the multiplayer. As soon as I know what country they are, I'll know who it is. Andalusia invading Shan. Don't think Shan's army is quite up to Andalusian quality. I can't see that. It's so annoying that this entry box just locks everything out. I mean, I kind of understand why, in case you're trying to change things in the background, which could cause out-of-sync issues. In fact, I'm pretty sure that is the reason you can't click on anything, but it's still annoying. Especially for the observer, where I can't affect anything. Kind of the problem with larger multiplayers, you need a lot of rules to stop players exploiting the gaps in the rules. Yeah, I mean, that's why I have a very generic, has to be within the spirit of the game. And I'm quite happy to come down on players who are repeatedly against the spirit of the game. It's like my main golden rule. Be nice. It's such a good community rule. Be nice. I noticed another streamer had copied my rules yesterday. I'm not going to say who, but I did notice it. Good to know that they've been appreciated. Just word for word. Alright, so we have a Texas. So Texas has now come in. Let's take a look at Shan. Is Shan actually being invaded by Andalusia? Yes. Have they been fighting? Yes. Is Shan sending 85,000 across a river into jungles? Yes. Is Shan about to lose again? Yes. -2. You don't want to do that. That's just silly. Especially when they've got significantly more morale than you. Although discipline's actually super close. In terms of quality, there's not actually that much in it. Although Shan's military +10/+10 and Lucia's is +10/+10. So really the difference there is the morale and then the national ideas, which is the 15% less fire damage received. As opposed to Shan's, which is just fort defense. Yeah, so it's the morale and the fire damage received, which in this era is huge, admittedly. But that was entirely on Shan for picking a very bad fight. Yeah, Russia is the revolution. So every other monarchy is going to be super pissed with them. Shan's recruiting a bunch more troops. How close to capacity is Shan right now? They've got plenty of manpower. They're actually well under their quantity. So they could recruit quite a few more. And these guys are still withdrawing. We seem to be on speed 1. Hey, Mean Wolf. There's a bit of a party going on in the admin box right now. So I am sure we are paused for a reason. Oh, and during this downtime actually, what I could do is mark Texas as actually here. So Texas has arrived, Andalusia, and Maguindanao hasn't. So Andalusia we're going to say is protected. Maguindanao was supposed to be coming in late, but we haven't heard from them yet. Is anything being said in the community chat? Nope, that's been fairly quiet. Do 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 do. Shan's troops do look pretty cool. They have a sword and a bayonet. That seems a little bit counterproductive. Why would you have a bayonet and a sword? Because the bayonet's basically supposed to replace the sword. You can never have too many blades. I mean, you're not wrong. You know, I have a question. How much of Australalia is actually Austrian? I would hope all of it. Unless Australian has become a thing, which is possible. There are little bits which are Venetian, but most of it is in fact Australian. Austrian, even. And then most of the Middle Earth is in fact Sind. And still fully occupied by Australia. That's surprisingly hard to say. Australia. No, there's no alia. Australia. Australia. The Sergei way. A sword for the sword. You can attach your bayonet to your sword. Is that what makes a two-handed sword? Because it's just two swords that you have to hold in a hand. So how is the Japanese-Maguindanao war going? It does look like Maguindanao and Japan are fighting. 31 heavy ships for Japan, 50 for Maguindanao. So I would say that Maguindanao actually has the naval superiority here. And Japan is currently losing the war. Maguindanao just needs to defend their capital. So we may well see an independent Philippines emerging here. Delhi, also occupied. That's probably an unconditional surrender. There are some very, very small Champaran armies. Yeah, occupied by Prussia. Prussia, it wasn't unconditional. Okay, so the peace has been done. War is over. Hamburg still maintains control of Hamburg. Middle-earth is still Delian. So I think the main thing there is that Prussia just wanted to maintain their colonial empire. Is it harder than the Allgemeine Ostasiengesellschaft? No, that one's easy to say. Delhi's spending a bunch of money. No, Delhi's getting a bunch of money. Delhi's taking a bunch of loans. Why is Delhi taking so many loans? This is not suspicious. I think one of the revolution things used to be you have to be bankrupt, but I don't think that's true anymore. Yeah, it's trying to build stuff. You don't need 16,000 to do that with. Unless building a bunch of manufactories. We'll need to keep an eye on that. Totally not a pyramid scheme. Oh, I'm pretty sure it is. But that would be a strategy which is almost impossible to stop, and it can massively backfire, as France found out last time. Players basically realised that he was bankrupt because he'd done the bankruptcy thing, declared war on him, and took half the country. It's risky. He wants to build the Panama Canal. Panama is still actually controlled by Great Britain. Oh, United States is protected. I was going to say, I wonder if Britain's going to go after the US again this session. But they are not able to do so. Yeah, unfortunately with the Ottomans protected, the Commonwealth protected, America protected, there's kind of limited options for expansion here. So I have a feeling that today is going to be quiet unless a war starts between these two. Which is possible. Hindustan has no allies. Hindustan's completely diplomatically isolated. Because they had to break their alliance with the Timurids when the Timurids declared war on Delhi. So if someone wanted to go after Hindustan, this would be an opportunity to do so. Thinking probably mostly the Europeans here. Because Hindustan is still #1 great power. This would be an opportunity to take down the #1. Being isolated like that is kind of dangerous in a multiplayer like this. Iran also has... Oh no, they have Texas still. Russia. Russia suddenly has some new allies. Remember at the start of this, Russia had none. They're currently allied with Austria, Prussia, and the Netherlands. Ottomans have none, but they are protected. Sweden still have theirs. Timurids have the Mamelukes. Timurids could potentially go after Hindustan, though I think that would be a mistake for them. Shan is diplomatically isolated. But then Shan always has been. Shan's been kind of the proud individualist. Just working as a mercenary. Shan is basically this game's Switzerland. I suspect they've made themselves adequately difficult to conquer. Although actually one way that we could check that would be to see their forts. Yeah, Shan has a lot of forts. That's good. Are they level 8? Nope. Oops. A couple of level 4s. Level 2s! Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I hope nobody notices this. He says, sitting in observer mode on a stream. As a zealous supporter of Audible, down with the Timurids. Well, the Timurids, who do they start with? It wasn't Timmy. They were somebody small. Oh, who on earth did the Timurids start as? Chat, help me out here. Any mods on? Yes, we have the multiplayer institutions mod, which stops you developing for